Hey, well, welcome to the Dream Labs live with Dr. Contrast here, gang. I hope all is well. And you might notice a little bit of a different uniform change today. I took my lab coat out there and I have some cleaning up exercise to do with it. So it's out there being laundered, and we'll have it hopefully back on and again on for Thursday's stream. But before I begin here, that'd be kind of cool to come back and just change subject matter here. But before I move on to this Tipo156, I want to make the announcement that we're not leaving, for example, the catamaran hydrofoil piece behind. I'm doing some sketches behind the scenes now. I'm doing some final compositions together for a nice finished piece, illustration work that might go into the finished piece, obviously, but perhaps into t-shirt graphics and the like. But I just didn't want to rush into that final composition on the boat until we really had a nice final design set up. We're close to the design we had last Thursday, but there's some more things I want to really kind of look at and readjust to make sure we have some things done here to make sure that just kind of sings when we put it all together. So rather than going and try to rush it today, I thought we'd change gears and go into this very historic looking Sharknose controversial Formula One car of 1961. This was a real anomaly in terms of F1 competition machines, because back in that generation, in the early 60s, there were the Coopers, the Brabhams, some of the Climax work, some of the BRMs, a lot of the even Maserati, for example, will come out. Yeah, the boat. I think the boat will be amazing. I just want to make sure we get the things done right, Shadow. I don't want to rush into a final composition at speed or in the water or some neat composition to get it done. But this Tipo156 was a real controversial piece that Enzo put together on the grid for Formula One season. The 156 is an odd one because it was such a controversial machine, but yet very successful at the same time. Phil Hill's only world championship was piloted in '61 with this machine, and I thought it'd be a nice piece of graphics for two reasons. Number one, a very simple, challenging shape to work with. And number two, I'm going to do a nice job slowing down today and doing a really nice tight rendering, and hopefully put this into our apparel line with Shadow, for example. When we get that all put together, we decide how we're going to take the store, which direction we're going to take it in. This will become one of the custom t-shirt pieces we'll do, Shadow, and maybe some graphics and poster work as well. So let's get started with this thing. I start with this line drawing first. I thought I'd just do a nice simple, quick and dirty line study, put a little bit of value behind it to get some of the high points out of the way, some of the contrast set. So we were just looking at how to put the composition together. So it kind of tilted a little bit. So from that study, I went ahead and spent some time yesterday and again this morning just doing some real quick preliminary work and started to set up the color study just a bit here. And it just had a nice simple form to it. It's a very simple shape, but I'm going to take my time to kind of close in on this thing and start to put some pieces together for us. So let me just start here by putting a bit of marker work down first. Let's kind of lay in here. The rest of the body form, to show a little bit of what I'll be using today, for example, are Copic markers and some pastel work and maybe some pencil and pen work to kind of tune in some things here and get it all squared away. So let's kind of get back here and put a little bit of color to this thing now. I'm going to come around this very numerical system here very tightly. Let's move into that, get that kind of blocked in. Miss that little intake piece. I work along here to get this started, and we'll tone it in from there. I just want to leave some area here. There's a little this little scoop imprint inside piece here, a little bit on the difference. I want to destroy that or cover it up or destroy it, change the pace there. So we get that all set, nice and easy. Just stayed it in. Just save some of that shape to kind of work with here, a little parabolic intake. And let's come back in through here, get down to the rocker sills. We'll just slowly build the values up as we go here. So the majority of this is going to be a lot of sky tone up on top, and then a lot of surface and work and color underneath. So, and then a lot of wheel detail. So it's a very finesse machine. There's not a lot to it, but there's a lot of neat surfaces in there that you have to be very careful with to how to telegraph them correctly. So let's kind of get these in. I'll come back in with a little bit more finesse here. Maybe just get the body work done today, and show you the finished product maybe on Thursday. And put a little more graphics in place here. So let's just kind of stain this in a little bit. Now this body rolls a bit right about through here. So let's take that little bit of that offset and begin to put a little bit more, some of that little bit of a surface change in here. A little more reflective quality. Bring this shape through here. Bring that in. Careful not to interrupt the number here. Take this right on through. Up into that little cowling area and back into the engine bay. And just a touch more along this highlight line here. Now let's come underneath here and really get this thing to ramp up a little bit here. Pick up a little bit of that shadow reflection coming back into the body form there. That's kind of a neat little shape to work with. And let the rest be real pure, just nice and easy. Coming behind this form here. Let's get the shadow side of this thing down here. That's where that's going to scoop inboard just a bit right there. Got a little bit of reflected light there. And come back out again. A little parabolic curve. There it is there. Now let's get this in behind here. And we'll come back to normal body color in the front side of this little intake. Very methodical, slow and easy, making sure we get it all done correctly here. A little bit of reflection, one more pass in that red area there so it doesn't look so barren. It might be a little bit more, it might go a little deeper with this just to kind of make sure we carry that front system right on through. And if it works out well, let's get this into place now, get that on shape. In fact, a little more of that reflective area there that can kind of get that down. I don't know, maybe we can go a little deeper with this crimson color coming through the shape here itself. Come up here. See what that looks like. Yeah, it's a little deeper. That's a little bit healthier. So it just looks a little bit more like that. Back in again. So it's not as blank or as abstract. Pull that in just a bit. Get that to kind of go back in. We'll come back with a highlight to get that scoop to really work well. That's better. And it kind of reflect a little bit more light as this doesn't. It's away from the light source. This gets a little bit more ground reflection. So the red is not really as deep, but it kind of gets the job done here. So it's going to stain that just a bit more. And take that on through right into here, into the shadow area. And we'll get that all set. So let's get a high contrast in this thing now. Let's get this engine bay set up and get some of the tires all lined up here. Let's kind of get this guy lined up in here and really kind of pitch this out. There we go. Just knock that out. Yeah, it's a little bit deeper. That's better. There you go. Let's kind of just tune that back just a bit so it's not as ominous looking, but it gets the job done for us here. There it is. Number 7, not quite as deep. It kind of gives us that shell to work with here. Bit of ground reflection on that exhaust piece there. And a little bit of the exhaust running out of the back of the machine. There it is there. So that kind of comes in pretty close to here, but we're working with. Let me go back and get some of the wheel graphics in place now and start to get some of the detail down on tires. And the rims, rather, pardon me. And same thing behind us here. That deep set in the rim. Bring this thing out just nice and easy. Really kind of slowed it down all down here. Just a lot of little detail pieces. So bear with me here, gang. We'll get these kind of inked in. It's going to come around a little deeper. And then just maybe scallop out of this form just enough to give me that. That's cool. And then again, this will do the same thing. It's a little bit internal ring here. Might get a little bit of action to it. Reflecting the upper. There we go. Give me that. Same thing down below here. This is picking up just a bit of reflection. And again, let's get this hub system back into here. This little central hub piece. I'm going to go with the spokes first. Come back and pick them up with some highlight and some temper work here. all the little pieces here. Now let's come back in, pick up this roll cage. Over the top. And finish it up here in just a second. Let's get this guy to kind of nice and lightly come through here for us. And a little bit of highlight into the base of it. There she is. And again, very simple streaming. Some hot spots in the glass itself. Let's gray this off, just to shadow off just a bit here. I'm going to go a little deeper with that. I'm down to number 5 gray here. Get that shadow to kind of roll in there just a bit more. That's better. This ground effect here, kind of run that in just a bit. And underneath the bowl here, the intake. There we are, starting to slowly get that body form put together. It's going to come together nicely here. The upper piece is going to be interesting. Let's do this. I'm going to come back in and get this, the cowling right. Let's put this in place here. And subtle little change of pace here in the shadow side of that intake. That's going to do. As it turns a corner, I'm going to come around here and do the same thing. It comes across, and it picks up just a little bit more of this furrow right here. Very delicate, just enough surface change. And underneath that, just a little bit of a brow here, where that part comes through, that into that. Real subtle, a little more bolder, touch bolder reflection here in the glass. Across that cowl area here. More reflection quality inside this guy, so it's not so static. And there it is. So it's slowly but surely coming together here. And let's kind of work on, let's put a little bit of this uniform graphics together here. And let's see, let's start with the number 2 gray if I've got one handy here. And maybe this one will work for me. So I'm going to pick up some of the graphics here on the suit. And we'll come back with a little bit of glass here and stain that in. And a little bit deeper. Number 5, catch some of the folds in this thing. There it is there. There we are there. Let's catch a little bit of that cowling behind him. Comes in about right here and behind the pilot, just enough for body change here. There it is. And a little more definition here. Light source away from, hey, Demetrius, how are you? It's good to have you on board, Demetrius. Good to see you, Chief. It's John here, somebody just showing technique. Mostly, it got to be one of my favorite Formula One cars. Yeah, it is, Jeff. It's a classic piece of machinery. Really cool stuff. This is not, Demetrius is not for somebody. This is going into my apparel line as it comes together. And hopefully this will be one of the finished illustrations we'll put on a t-shirt or some poster graphics available on the website. So, and Jeff, good to have you on board. Nice machine this thing was, and today it was absolutely phenomenal. So very cool stuff to have here. Let me just kind of finish up some graphics here. Some of the helmet graphics here. Just going to do number 4. Let's put a little bit of glass in this thing to see what we come up with here. See if I can kind of get a color together here. Pardon me. Let's move out of here just a bit. Let's get a little bit of glass tone in here, and we'll kind of move through it as well. There's a drawing definition over the top of this glass. Get this rim piece here. Same thing over here with these engine blisters. Put glass on that side. Back into detail that in a moment here. Kind of gray that off just a little bit. Not as so. That valve cover, I think it had a little bit of a tint to it here, so it's got a little bit of a tint in this thing here. There we go. There she is. And bit by bit, we're getting there. So there she is. There it is. And come back in here. Just gotta get those out of the way for a second. Let's go back on and concentrate. What do you think, gang? It's going reading all right, coming along all right. And let's see, you got to be, yeah, Demetrius, how have you been? And Jeff, how have you been? Hope everything's staying nice and busy for you, and things are moving along nicely here. Let's kind of go back a little bit of detail inside these rims. Let's see, we're going to number 3. Let's try number 3 gray here. Let's stain it in first. Come around the outer ring. Fill these in just a bit here. Knockoffs in place. Same thing up on top of this guy. I'm gonna bring this around. Let's get a little bit more of this. Nice and simple, nothing fancy here, just getting the pieces put together. Let's go back and put a little more detail in this thing here. Pick up on number 5. Pick up some of this. Oops, wrong side here. Number 3 gray back in again here. I'm just going to tint this inner rim. Get that all set up. Got to bring it all together. Now, real tricky part here. Just going to get this hub to work back just a bit. Get some graphics and pattern in there. Same with this. I'm going to come back and hit the spokes a little bit later here. Let's kind of get this number 5 gray and put that into place here. If I can find it. Oh, number 6. Let's kind of get this in place here. It's going to come right around here and get these rims to really come into play here. Do the same thing here. Rear rims. Around that knockoff here, just kind of nice and delicately put that in place. Put that spoke in place. Put a hot spot here and there. And so little by little, putting it all together. What do you think, gang? Coming together all right? Are you going to add any background or just as it? Yeah, I think I'm going to go background here, Demetrius, but I think I'm going to want to get the forms down correctly. Then we'll kind of move in and get this thing to really kind of sing here with regard to background. Let me put a little bit of tone in this thing. Get this reflective. See, let's get this reflected back in through here. There it is there. That's got some touch to it. And a little bit of this behind it. And a little bit more shadow inside this parabolic, this engine. There she is there. It helps. So it gives you a little more character to it. There it is there. Now, this guy, a little bit more tone in this shadow area here inside this. I really knock that thing down a little bit more so it's more of the scallop here. Close that down just a bit. Knock that thing out just a touch. And there it is. So that's basically what we're after as far as form goes. And what do you think, gangs? Let's do this. We've got to pick up some very harsh graphics in the tires back here. Turn this around just a bit here. Get this tire geometry in place. Here, just going to plug this up a bit. That down just a touch. Same with this guy. That inside rim done too. Let's see, that number 2 gray, get that in place. Even down to maybe a 4. Since it's inside the shadow area here, that's a little bit better. That takes that. Just going to put this into place right down below, just a touch more. And again, just a bit more around the rim here. Now, kind of scuff this in just a bit more. And pick up some high contrast here very quickly here. Pick up a real fine line pen and just add a few little touches here and there. A little tempera to brighten them up a little bit. Put about, hey, how you doing, Captain Nemo? How you doing there? Looking good, Captain Nemo. Thank you for joining forces here today. How you been? Doing pretty well? Fantastically well. Good, good, good. I hope. Get a little more definition inside this rim here. Turn this about here, pardon me. Sorry for moving this around a little bit, but I just want to make sure we get them really interesting kind of forms here to kind of put the pieces together for us here. So just put a little more definition in some of these areas here to kind of give a little more believability to the process here. Now, same thing here. Let's get a bit of this magic in here. The spokes. Number one grain, just kind of knock that down a bit. Throwing it back. Same thing here, throwing it back just a bit more. And all of a sudden, there she is, gang. What do you think? Coming together all right? So far, so good. Let's see if we can kind of put a little more pieces together here. Kind of get some of this detail working here. Yeah, you know what? I think now we're ready to really kind of add what I refer to as, the coup de grace, a little soft pastel work, and we'll do some eraser work as well. So let's get this thing to look more reflective now. I come back and pick up that same indication. Let's put more core in this thing here. Let's see if that's working all right. What do you think, gang? Much more reflective now? It was a death trap, but man, yeah, it was a death trap. You got that right. That it was. Let me test something here to make sure we got the right mixture going on here, gang. First of all, let's get some of this out of the way. Doesn't belong there. Let's get some of this in place. All right, let's see what that does. Add a little bit of, just a pinch of color here. Got that? No, I'm gonna go this route. Rather than like seek out what I was looking for, which is right here. Okay. Let's get that curl in place here to follow that reflection right through. Gonna tone that back just a bit. There it is. I'm gonna run that right into that highlight right through there. Back with a bit of temper later, and it just catches a curl in that numerical. Let's go a little deeper with that, just a touch more. There it is. Cool. Now let's go back in here, and we'll pick up some of the same reflective red back in the form here. That should take me pretty close to where I need to be here. Let's kind of get this eraser to kind of come back and scrap a little bit of highlight back in through here. Ready? There it is. Let's see. So far, so good, gentlemen. What do you think, gang? Coming along? There too, starting Nemo. That's the point when Bob Ross puts a big black bar in the finished painting. Everybody thinks the image is ruined, but then it turns out to be a beautiful tree before you hit it. That's well said. Nemo, he does that. I'm going to come back in with some temper and pick up some of that highlight work in here. Let's put a little bit more red into this thing here too, is this. Let's go back and get that down just a bit more. And we'll just kind of take this through just one more pass here. There it is. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It just kind of gives us some form here to work with. It's going to get this guy a little bit more reflective work up on top here. Let's get a little bit of that wheel flare here too. It's going to get that kind of just a bit more. That's that. No, just to touch a little bit more, a touch more sky inside this glass area here. A bit down below, and just a little bit down below. There we go. So far, so good. There it is, gang. What do you think? Coming along all right? That's it here. Let's kind of get that number straightened up here. That. Just catch a little more reflection inside this glass here. That's that. And let's see, that's how's that looking. Oh, let's get this on the far side. This rim squared away here. A bit of tone back in there. And there it is. Let's put it up on top here just a touch there. There it is with the light source. There it is. Okay, so I don't know, gang, what do you think? That just about has her home there, I think. Hate to go any further with this and to kind of overwork it, but I think that's kind of slowly but surely kind of giving us some really interesting surface work to deal with here. Let me do this. Yeah, so just get this guy cleaned up here just a bit more. A little more reflection inside those glasses. And what it's worth here, let's try this. Let's see if we can get a little bit of temper action in this thing here. It's just going to finish up. At least the body, the forms will be working out very nicely here. As far, oh, missed another spot here too. I want to make sure this doesn't really shallow out on me here. A little subtler. There it is. Knocks that down just a bit more. And again, this just a bit more. And I think overall, got a pretty good capture on this guy. And make sure we get this. Little touches here and there. I can see where the pastel is kind of coming through. Don't want to go that route. Get some of that highlight back again if we can here. And a little bit of that highlight back in through here. A little bit more in there. It's little touches here. Let's see if we can get this thing to kind of sing a little bit. Some hot spot. There we go. I think that's helping our case. Now I'm gonna add more, put a little more temper inside this thing for us here, Demetrius, definitely. A little bit of a highlight pattern across this piece here. Here we are. What do you think, gang? Coming along all right? A little bit of hot spot on that beauty. We got her. Okay, super. Let's put a little bit of glass, a little bit of hot spot in the glass as well. Aside for a moment. Reflection in there. We got it. Okay, let's see. What do you think, folks, fans? Coming along all right? Let's put a little bit more hot spot. I think there's no spot in this glass. We should be good. Should put in the backdrop of Monza, where he'll finish the season with a win and took home the championship. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, you got that's right. Number back to a nice bright white. Number 2 back in place. Oop, almost there, gang. Hang on. With a small brush, so I'm going to make sure I get the right, not too much buildup on this brush here to get this thing to read here. And there we are. That should hopefully do it. Well, what do you think, gang? Any consensus out there? Let's see, between silky matte and lacquer. There she is. The white, the red contrast really makes a, yeah, it does. Makes a huge difference, I think, Nemo. So hopefully, I'm going to call that a day here, guys, and just kind of slow that down a little bit, take a good look at it, and maybe add some little background, some little dust, maybe some pastel work in the foreground, and I'll finish this thing up on Thursday with you guys, let you see what it's all about. So I think that's a good exercise and get this Tipo156 all squared away. Pretty happy with the way it came out. I think it's a very slow, tedious process, so thank you for your patience and staying with me here. Hope it's been entertaining. Very enjoyable nonetheless. I think I've got a little bit of background work. I might put a little bit of forest green or some of the alpine countryside behind it all to kind of give a little more contrast to it. But before we go, I'm going to do one last thing here. I just saw something here needs to be addressed. A little hot spot back in through here. And there, and again here. Little detail work. And that should do it there, gang. There she is, the Tipo156, 1961 variety. Anybody in any kind of closing commentary here, guys? Think we've got it? Pretty good shape. I think that was, I just want to slow it all down here a little bit and just take a minute and review it, and then put a little bit of background work in, and maybe put a little bit of significant. Again, this is going to go, I think, if Shadow, if you're still with me, I'm still going to look forward to really putting this thing on a website and getting some t-shirt graphics done with it. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Nemo. Boy, it's good to have you on board, and thanks so much for taking the time to be with us today. I know it's a big contrast for you to get things taking care of your very busy man. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today. Always great to have you on board. And let's kind of go back in through here. A bit more definition in this guy. And there it is. Whoop. So fasteners down. Clean up some of these areas here. That. And I was going to add one more little thing. Oh yeah, it had a cut line here where they have the cowl covering here. Let's get this body cut line in here. Scoop the layer just a bit better. And last but not least, just a little bit more of this to kind of cover up the masquerade there, a little more of that red. It's not so much highlight down through here. There it is. That's more better. Well, there it is. There's the Tipo156, a bit more temper to it, maybe a little more hot spot, but I think it really plays with the way it came out here, and so much appreciative of the fact that you guys stayed with me here throughout the course of the last, geez, I can't believe it took an hour and 10 minutes to get through that, but nonetheless, we'll let that set a little bit. Do a little test work on getting some background stuff done and see what we kind of work with here to get a nice background. Maybe it's forest, maybe it's a little bit more greenery to kind of contrast in there, but that's it today, gang. Oh, by the way, let me put this aside for a moment. I'm going to show you what's coming here on the website, and let me kind of clean my mess up here for a bit. And I want to show you the kind of work we're doing. I'm going to send these out here very shortly to get produced, have some graphics put on them, and transfer them into a t-shirt system here, and perhaps some prints. This is definitely going to go to print format here once we get that all squared away. So that's going to go definitely into a context for our apparel line on the website. And also I want to show you some things we're working on as well on the side here. Some other additional things that we already have out there, print work. Some of that's going to go into shirt graphics, etc. But here's just a cross section of the things I've been working with here. I'm going to move this aside from, we'll come back to it in a moment. So there's a Tipo156. We're going to put this one in format here. I might knock out the shadow here on this 250 LM and GT rather, and that's going to go in a shirt, maybe put 250 GT in the background here. So as we go through these are the things that I'll be adding to the website for t-shirt work and some poster graphics as well as some print work. So a 250 GT, and that's that guy. Then we thought we'd try some very high contrast black and white studies here. Kind of a lot of fun to work with. Bentley 488 Pista, some things like that, just black and white. Maybe try some of those on the shirts, just high contrast graphics, just line weight studies. And maybe go to black on white, take a red shirt, maybe go on white. We'll see what we'll do a little test pattern with these guys. So there's two there that we're going to work with, and also some Corvette silhouette work here. Maybe that guy, I'd like to do a little more of a fresher contemporary line sketch here to get that taken care of, but that's one of the Corvette studies there. That was that one. It's an early Corvette. Wasn't pleased with that guy so much. I think this has got a better format to it. I don't know how you feel, but this is much more Corvette-like than the other one I just finished here. Very high contrast graphics, simple and easy. And this is, again, the one I did not care for. The first Corvette I did, I tried to catch that same intake piece. It just didn't look good. Lamborghini Aventador, obviously. Going to add that to the mix. And last but not least, getting into some Bugatti and the Rolls-Royce boat tail. So these things are coming along here in time to come, and I just hope you'll stay tuned and be patient with us to get this thing put together. There's a lot of little bits and pieces to make sure fulfillment has to be taken care of, who's going to do the print work, what kind of sizes we're going to deal with, and pricing, etc. So all that's coming, but I cannot thank you enough, gang, for being with me today. This is a really fun exercise. I've always thought this is one of my famous, I love this machine. Shadow was right, it's an absolute death trap to drive, but boy, you talk about a great piece of equipment to work with as far as an illustration and rendering goes. Love the illustration work, and I'm just wanted to do one for a long time. I didn't have the right view. This was kind of a nice captured piece here. Phil Hill's 156 from 1961. So all that to say, thank you so much, gang. Hopefully on Thursday I have my coat back and we'll be ready to fly again. Felt a little funny today without having it on, but it's being cleaned. So nonetheless, sanitary. So it's going to be interesting to keep it all alive here and keep it nice and clean and orderly. And please visit my website at drcontrast.com if you have any questions or any conversation about drawing. I've got some drawing programs on there, might be of some interest to you. Also the store has some posters on it, but again, we're going to add to that. Shadow and I and another individual working, trying to really desperately put that all together for us now, and to see what kind of system we're going to deal with for fulfillment, sizes and pricing and all that, and just add some content. And while I'm at it too, Captain Nemo, we're going to start adding to that website also some of the Star Citizen work, like the Manta Core, all these the G12, all that's coming alive. We have not forgotten that. We're putting together inventory now to get that all come to pass. So once again, gang, so much appreciate the time. Again, if you have anything you want me to work on, I'll try and finish this guy up on Thursday. I'm going to take my time to slow down a little bit here and change subject matter. The reason I went to this Tipo today, 156, was I'm not leaving the boat, the catamaran hydrofoil behind. I want to do a nice finish setup as far as design goes. I'm not quite there yet with the design process. I might pick that up. Either I'll work on this to finish it up, or maybe on Tuesday pick up the boat again once I do some little more pilot studies on getting some good concept work and composition work for a final piece. They're kind of hard to, yeah, you know, that's a good question, Nemo. I mean, I've got stuff stored up now as far as hardcover book, as far as my designs are concerned. We talked about the other day about getting this publication on, it's called Genesis. I might break it down in certain categories and put some of the artwork in there. I'm trying to find a more efficient way to do that without getting a lot of publishing and so forth. I might get into some printed work or some digital work, see if we can kind of help our cause out here with that. So thank you. That's something I'm definitely looking at doing as well. So thank you so much, gang. Again, drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. I'd love to hear from you. And to Demetrius, Shadow, Captain Nemo, Jeff, thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all the very best in the next few days. We'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And again, visit me at drcontrast.com. Drop me a note, jim@drcontrast.com, and we'll go from there. And I'll always finish up with this because I think it's a very important thing to finish with. Please, at all times, never forget to remember to dare to be great, because you are. All the best, gang. Thank you so much. We'll see you Thursday. Thank you.